Hi, and welcome to The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shape the game. Brought to you by Fit to Curl, a sport-specific guide to training for the world's greatest game by 2010 Olympic gold medalist and Team Martin third John Morris, with a bit of help from me, Dean Gemmell. Buy your copy at fittocurl.com or your favorite pro shop. He was the third on the team that finished runner-up at the 2011 M&M Meat Shop's Canadian Junior Curling Championship, the second on the team that just won the AMJ Van Line's Shorty Jenkins Classic, and the third Howard to be on this podcast. Scott Howard, welcome to The Curling Show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, the third. Well, your uncle's been on, your dad's been on. You did get on here before Stephen, and I know you've got a sister who'll be on one day probably, and also a cousin. So there you go. Another cousin, right? Ashley, right?
Yeah, Ashley's the other cousin too, yeah.
All right, well, let's start with last weekend, Scott. Enough of the family history. You win the event, your team with John Epping, by beating Chad Allen in the final, but you also beat a pretty good team in the semis. How did it feel to win against your dad, Glenn Howard, and your former skip, Wayne Middaugh?
It's the game I was looking forward to all weekend, and lucky enough to see him in the semifinals. It's actually my second biggest win of my career. I actually beat my dad last year in Brooks, Alberta, so pretty good feeling, especially beating your dad and your former skip. So the boys played well, so we turned out really well.
So what's it like when your skip dumps you to play with your dad?
It's a little hard to take. Wayner called me in the summer and said, I got this offer that I just can't turn down. And I knew through the summer that it could be a possibility that I might play with my dad. So I kept my options open, and I got a call from Johnny and was asking if we could put a team together. And I jumped on that idea right away. I talked to my dad. He said it's a good little team, and hopefully we can challenge my dad for provincial champion.
You are playing John Epping this year with Scott Bailey, and a third, half of the rink that John had last year. I'm probably not the only one who thought your junior team with Matt Cam, a rink that beat some of the top men's rinks, might remain intact to have a run at the grown-ups. Why didn't that happen?
Yeah, that's still a touchy subject. Good bunch of guys. We were thinking about staying together, then I got this opportunity with John, and sponsorship comes along too with it, so that helps out. But, yeah, we had a great year last year. Matt, Andrew, and Dave were great curlers. But I was looking more towards the Olympics, I guess. And I thought if I hopped on a team with a bunch of experience like John and Scott, been to Olympic trials, they've been to a Brier. So that's probably the only reason why I jumped on John's team and moved away from the junior squad.
I'm sure those guys will get over it eventually if it's a touchy subject now. Actually, 3/4 of your team used to play with Wayne when you guys took the ice the other day.
Yeah, no, that's true. Scott played with Wayne, Johnny played with Wayne, and so did I. So, yeah, that win meant a lot to us in the Shorties.
Last year you juggled your time with your junior rink and Wayne Middaugh's team. Did you have any weekends when you weren't curling?
I probably curled most of anyone in the world last year. I think I went 16 or 17 weekends in a row from Labor Day to Christmas or something. It was crazy, though. Good experience. I think it helped my game. Halfway through the season, I started not liking curling much anymore, and I tried to take time off, but every weekend I was going on the road, so it took a toll out of you.
Was there ever a time in your life when you didn't want to curl? Was there ever a moment when you thought it might be better to play a sport where people wouldn't always be telling you how great your father and your uncle are?
Yeah, I've been asked that question a lot, actually. Back when I was in high school and elementary school, I played rec hockey, and it was really competitive. And honestly, all my buddies played hockey, so it's pretty hard for me to choose curling. But I looked down the road, and I knew I wasn't going to make the NHL, so I thought might as well stick with curling and see it, or I guess it's in my genes, so that's why I stuck with curling.
In a story by Rita Mingo in the Calgary Herald last season, you mentioned that Matt Cam and Wayne Middaugh called totally different games. Was it an eye-opener to play with Wayne and see the kind of game you need to play in order to win at the next level? Yeah, no, that's definitely true. I played with Wayne one weekend and go to Matt Cam's rink next weekend. It was definitely tough because Wayne played a lot different game than Matt, which is I looked up to Wayne because he knows a lot about the game, and I try to bring that little aspect to my junior team because I wasn't sure Matt knew exactly like how to call the game, but he was really good calling the game too. But yeah, I think it helped me out a lot. What was the biggest difference between the two games?
Probably strategy. He's more aggressive with hammer. Just little things that you wouldn't really quite see, but they're definitely open there.
Wayne's more aggressive with a hammer.
Yeah, definitely more aggressive.
Right. Some of that comes, I think, from being a skip like Wayne was pretty sure he can always make a shot, right?
Exactly.
Did you ever skip in your? You skipped a while in junior, right?
Yeah, I played skip a couple times in juniors. It wasn't too successful, so I kind of turned away from it. I always looked up to my dad, and he's been a skip for the last, 10 or some years. So, I've always looked up to my dad and Uncle Russ, and I thought it wasn't clicking for me, and I wasn't sure about the strategy, so I like playing front end now, and I think we got a good squad playing with me and second with Johnny.
Of course, your dad never thought he would skip either.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like, if Russ was still in Ontario, I'm sure they'd be playing together still.
Yeah, I asked your dad that in one of my early podcasts if he'd be skipping if Russ hadn't moved, and he said he wouldn't. He would be.
I don't think so.
For Russ. Hey, more and more good junior curlers are trying to figure out how to build lives that allow them to pursue their sport, curling. What's your life like right now?
It's good. I definitely took last 2 years off to focus on curling. It was tough though, losing the national final, because that was my goal running up in juniors. Especially when I got the call to go play with my dad at the Briar, which is one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. I'm still going to school now. I'm back in second year at Georgian College. I'm starting to focus towards school, and curling's my second life. So, yeah, it's definitely getting back on track now.
Hey, would you ever consider something like your cousin Ashley is doing this year, like moving out west to play with a team, or moving somewhere just to play with a team and trying to build your life around it?
I don't think so. I think I got a good team this year. We definitely are going to go hard for 2014. We're training all hard. I don't see myself moving. I'm trying to focus more on school, get my diploma, and then go on from there, find a job, and hopefully curling falls into place too.
Just to be clear, I'm not doubting the talent on your team this
year. No,
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking beyond 2014, because I do think the team you have is certainly a top one. So didn't mean to make it sound like I was saying you should ditch them already.
No, exactly. I understand.
Hey, how long did it take you to get over that loss in the final at the M&M Meat Shops Canadian Juniors in what was probably the best junior curling final in an awfully long time?
Ooh, that was a tough one. It could have went either way. We've had our opportunities, which is, you can't look back, right? But I would say it took at least 4 or 5 months. I could sleep at night and think about the game, like, what if I made this shot, or what if we played this different? But, it took a long time. Just because it was so close, I'd rather lose and get blown out of the water. You get over the loss a lot easier. But it's juniors, so it's a good experience. You're playing at national level, so hopefully I can bring that experience to a men's team.
Well, the nice thing is as you get older, it becomes harder to remember games and shots because your memory fades. It's not really – they're still tough losses, but your memory goes as you get older, so you can't remember like you can in juniors. Yeah,
that's true. I got some bigger focuses right now.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think of Braden Muscowy's chances at the men's level?
There's some big shooters out there. They're really well. I'm not too sure who's on their team this year, but they're definitely a contender to Saskatchewan. It also helps that Pat Simmons left, so there's one less team to look out for. But I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to the Briar this year.
Yeah, I mean Saskatchewan's still Steve Laycock's there, and they're still a tough province, and Carl and with Jeff Sharp,
yeah.
But it's certainly not. After that, the depth chart gets a little thin. So he's got nice. He's a. I don't know the kid at all, but I like his tweets on Twitter. So that's all I know about him. He's got a good vibe on that. So, all right, Scott, we finished with a run back. Oh, you know what? You said you had a funny story maybe to tell, so maybe I should check on that. Have we touched on that at all, or do you have that funny story still to tell?
Yeah, I have a funny story. I'm not sure if my dad would like me telling you this or telling you guys this, but we ended up beating him on Saturday or Sunday morning, right? And we came back home and we had family dinner on Monday night. And Dad was pretty quiet. Didn't have too much to say. I think he was still bummed about that loss. So I actually piped up and I said, "So I guess you can't beat the kid, eh?" And I don't think he liked that too much. And we got a little argument, but it was pretty funny though, because it's funny getting his gears going.
It sounds funny when he banged the table and threw the milk, and it was a real ugly domestic scene, is what it sounds like. Yeah,
that's pretty much what it is. You guys actually think you outplayed us, and you guys got lucky. We're pretty chirpy when we get back to the house because we all, at the end of the day, we always want to win.
Well, that's interesting. All right, a little tension in the Howard household from the curling ice. I don't know. That's only in the Howard household. I think that sort of thing's going on right now. But anyways, that's you try to give your dad a break though, right? He doesn't need that. He doesn't need that stress, Scott.
Yeah, not at all.
All right, we're gonna finish with a run back. I give you a topic, and you will give me your thoughts in 1 to 3 words.
Okay.
Your sister Carly versus you in a singles match. I hear she's a pretty good player.
Yeah, actually she is. I wouldn't be surprised if she beat me. She's really good at singles, and I've played her a couple times, and she's actually beat me. So she's a good curler. She's curling in Peterborough this weekend, and hopefully she does well.
The white belt thing.
The white belt. I'm a fan of it. Dad brought it into the game a couple years ago. I used it for a year, and I just don't think I can copy him again.
Yeah, I think that's the trouble is when you see a team copying it, it's a bit much. But
yeah, it's a bit much.
I think it's jumped the shark maybe for everybody, but your dad's team. We'll still let them do it. But I think anybody else has got to move on.
Yeah.
How about the refusal of fake Kevin Martin and fake Jeff Stoughton to come on this podcast?
The refusal.
That
would be interesting. I definitely follow them on Twitter, and there's a lot of good tweets on there. It would be interesting to hear them on this.
Do you have any idea who they are?
I have no idea. Do you know who they are?
I don't. I mean, I wish I did. It's really got me. I mean, some people have said it might be me, but if it was, I think by now I'd have to take credit for it because it's pretty.
Yeah,
good.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be able to hold out this long and not have my.
No, I'd actually love to find out who it was.
Yeah, hopefully we find out. I'm telling them if they come on, I'll modulate their voice and everything. Actually, you know what?
I like that.
Yeah, so I'd like to do that. How about the European debt crisis?
The European debt crisis. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm not too sure about it, but I'll leave it at that.
All right. I like to throw one in there just to test your knowledge of current affairs. At least you know about it. Sometimes I get these people on here who don't even know about it. But anyway.
What's that, eh?
And finally, the new Team Furbies win in Edmonton last weekend.
Yeah, I saw it, actually. I was following the World Curling Tour. Good start for the Furbs. Scott Nettlin back, and yeah, I think they're going to have a good year. Hopefully you see them a lot on Twitter this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll challenge anyway. They got off to a rough start in that. I mean, what do you think? How much stock do you put in these early season events, anyways?
You can't put too much in it. Like Brockville, that hasn't thrown a rock before then, but there's still some gain into them, though. Sparks are firing with us, and hopefully we can keep it rolling. All
right, Scott. I give everybody a chance to name their sponsors, and I know you guys have some good ones, so let's hear who they are.
The Dominion of Canada, MGI Wealth, and Balance Plus.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining me. The third Howard on the podcast. I have a feeling there's going to be a couple more at least, but appreciate your time, Scott. Good congratulations on the win, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks, Dean. All the best.
That's Scott Howard on The Curling Show. If you want to follow me on Twitter, search Dean Gemmell, Cap D and Cap G, no spaces. And if you're back on the ice and feeling like your body isn't that excited about it, pick up Fit to Curl by John Morris. Available at fittocurl.com and at Better Pro Shops. As always, thanks for listening.